Okay, so in this post, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the changes that I've made to the third draft of Survivor. Um, Although I did talk about some of the changes in the previous post, I feel like some of these changes in the script needed a bit more explanation, and I just wanted to do a quick video just talking about why I decided to make these last minute changes to the script. Um, Basically, these things that I'm sort of going to talk about were only they only became obvious to me that they needed to be changed after Hara and I rehearsed the other day and did a read through of the script. There were certain sections of the script that I just didn't think really worked. There was just certain sections that didn't really seem theatrically engaging. Like there was just certain sections where I thought, no, that needs a bit of restructuring or that needs a bit of rewriting. So I'm just going to talk very quickly about these changes that were made and just why they were made, really. I think as a writer, this experience keeps teaching me that you can have so many drafts of a script, and even at the last moment, there is the possibility that you will find things that don't work in a script. And I think that was a big lesson for me as a writer. When I first wrote the first draft of Survivor, I was like, that's the first draft, that's it, don't need to do any more writing. And then obviously I took the advice of the people that we've been talking to. So from Tess Hudson from Rape Crisis and Katrina McHugh from the theatre company Open Clasp. And obviously their kind of feedback on later drafts of the script and that draft of the script itself were really monumental in making sure that the script is in the best shape it could be. And I just think that without this experience of actually, going through the process of creating a piece of work to writing a piece of work and then writing so many drafts of this piece of work as I have, I don't think I would have had this experience otherwise. And I think it's really important because I think at one point I was really concerned that I was writing so many drafts. And I was beginning to think, is it because the show doesn't work? Is there a problem? But I think it is just a general thing that writers have to go through. And it is something that writers have to get used to doing. They have to get used to writing so many drafts of a piece of work until it's the best it can possibly be. And I hadn't really expected this sort of late in the process to be making changes. But then when we did the rehearsal the other day, there were sections of the script that I just felt didn't quite work. There was just things where I was sat there going, no, I can change that, I can make that better. So in this video, I'm just going to talk very briefly about the changes that were made, just to give a bit more explanation for them. I will also put in the post as well where you can find this version of the script, this new version of the script, which will be called the showing version of the script. Within the file that I'm going to hand in as well, I'm going to reference that in the post where you can find this version of the script as well as the third draft of this script as well. So yeah, let's talk about these changes. So the first major change, I think, is to do with the line unknown. So within every draft of the script, there has always been moments where Hara and myself have said unknown in unison. Now, originally, this sort of using of the word unknown was going to reference the fact that it was unknown how many students experienced lecturer on student sexual assault and harassment. Because during my research, I found out that students are getting paid to stay quiet about their sort of experiences, and that this means that we don't know how big this problem is. Now, this has been quite a big theme on the blog, talking about the change in this storyline between Poppy and Jake, because when I sort of got feedback about the script from Tess Hudson from Rape Crisis and from Katrina McHugh from Open Clasp, they said, well, this storyline isn't really realistic, it's not really believable. And so I took that story out and we changed it to now where we basically see Poppy and Jake, we see Jake sexually harass and sort of sexually, not rape. We made sure that it wasn't rape, but sort of just sexually abuses Poppy during a meeting that they have. And initially I thought, well, am I going to just take out the line unknown? But then I thought, well, no, you could keep it in the later drafts. And I had then made it so that when we were saying unknown in unison, it was going to later reference the fact that it is truly unknown how many victims there are of sexual assault, because there's such an amount of shame attached to being a victim of this type of crime. So I had thought, okay, that'll work, that's fine. It's a slightly different meaning, but it's, it'll still have the same effect. And then we did it in rehearsal the other day, and it just didn't really work for me. It didn't have the fact that we were saying unknown together at the same time. I felt like it didn't really work, and I felt like it didn't really flow properly. And I mean, there was definitely moments where Hara and myself didn't say it exactly at the same time. And I think this showed how, if that happened on stage during the performance, how really it kind of lost any effect that it had. And I just felt like that needed to be taken away. I felt like that was an aspect of the script that maybe just wasn't needed anymore after all the changes that had been made to it. And yeah, I just thought, well, take that out and get rid of it. I feel since reading this newer draft of the script, it does seem to flow a bit better. I mean, the sections about the statistics are a bit more sort of snappy, and that just kind of keeps the story going, which I always think is the kind of most important thing, is making sure that we're keeping pace. So yeah, that was the first thing that we changed, rather that I changed. I then went on to add a small section of not exactly comedy, but of just a lighter moment in the script. When we'd been rehearsing the other day, Hara had mentioned she felt that when it's the scene between Ellie and Sophie, she felt that there could have been a moment between the two friends where they're having a laugh. And I thought, okay, yeah. And Hara had this idea of me reading a book, and I mean, I'm not sure what this book would be, but then she would come up behind me and sort of joke about the book that I was reading, and she just sort of felt like that would show the kind of playful relationship that Ellie and Sophie have. And I really like this. I really like the idea of adding further moments of lightness into the script, especially taking inspiration from Open Clasp's work, Key Change, because they had lighter moments within that script, and that definitely kept the audience sort of, I think, engaged, especially when they were then later dealing with darker subjects. These lighter moments kind of broke the kind of tension, I think, and I think made just the whole sort of piece kind of more relatable for everybody. And so I have added that bit in. It's just 2 lines. It's just very few lines. I've just, just like, are you really reading that book? And kind of, we will have that moment where there is this kind of playful moment between Ellie and Sophie. And I just wanted to add that into the script, because when Hara had discussed this with me, I thought, oh yeah, that's, maybe that's quite a nice lighter moment that we can have within the script. And so I've added that to the script. I will put in a picture of the new bit of dialogue in the post as well, so you can see. And I'll also reference which page this new bit of dialogue now, sort of where it goes in the script. So we've added that. I've added that sort of moment of lightness into the script as well, kind of to show the relationship between Ellie and Sophie. And I'm really happy about that. I really was sort of thinking, is there anywhere where lighter moments could kind of be filtered in? And Hara mentioned this, and I thought, great, I can add that in. So we've now added that, so there's that sort of lighter moment as well, which has been included, which I'm really happy about. The major change that I've made to this version of the script is the ending. I really didn't like the ending that we read out the other day, and I think it's because I care so much about this project, and I want the ending of the production to be good and for it to be the best that it can be. And I just didn't think it worked. There was just something about it that just didn't quite work for me. My big concern with the ending was making sure that we thanked everybody who has helped us to create this production. So, for example, the committee members from It Happens Here, Tess Hudson from Rare Crisis, and Katrina McHugh from Open Clasp. So I'd kind of had the idea in this section of the script that it would be about thanking these people and making sure that they were included in that way in the script, and that I was able to say, yes, I said thank you to these people, thank you for being part of it. And I think one of the problem is that initially I had said, we'll just improvise these thank yous. So there's certain sections, for example, when we talk about student support in that rehearsal. When I talk, you can see in the rehearsal video, when I talk about the student support, that is me improvising, talking about the service, and it just didn't really work, and it just seemed as if I kind of was making it up on the spot, and that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted it to seem as if we had known about these services and we wanted to publicise them more, and I mean that is kind of what we wanted, and I just felt like that wasn't the case with this. I just felt like the services that we were trying to promote weren't promoted in the best way that they could be, and I just thought, no, this ending needs to be kind of restructured a little bit. So the main change of this structuring is that now we kind of, it's a bit snappy at the ending. I also felt like the ending kind of dragged in the first rehearsal that we did. And basically now we've added another section, or I've added another section where when we're talking about the statistic 11 rapes every hour, there's sort of a bit of dialogue where we kind of count from 1 to 10. And it's the idea that each sort of, each hour that we add, there's another victim, and I feel like this moment was a really kind of, I don't know, this was a moment that I thought I really want to include this, and I hadn't known where to put it originally. And I just thought we can put that in. That kind of just brings the audience to focus again, and it just kind of allows the audience to kind of be like, okay, we're going to hear about the statistics now, this is what we're going to do. So we've also added that section. Now we also at the end now have written sort of written speeches about the services that we want to promote and the people who've helped us create the production. And they're not going to be improvised, they are sort of written there so that we can learn it and we can sort of say it correctly. I think because when I'd originally said that we would improvise, I think I'd originally kind of wanted to talk from the heart about these, these people who've been so instrumental in making this production. But then equally when we tried it, it just didn't really seem to work. And I just think having like a set thing that we have to read is the best thing possible. And it definitely means that the right people are getting thanked. And and this was the big thing for me. I wanted to make sure that everybody who was involved was thanked and was acknowledged. And especially because I'll be in the audience as well, this was really important to me. And I think the ending, that did concern me when we did that rehearsal, because I really didn't like the ending, and I thought we need to change that. That needs to be changed. It's not good enough. And I think it is because now I have such an emotional connection to this project, and I'm like, I want to make sure that everything is just right. And I feel such a responsibility towards the people that we've worked with to make the best production possible for them to see, that it really made me think I must make sure that this ending is better and that it's just more concise and more clear. And I feel like now that we've kind of made it so the statistics, are sort of revealed to the audience at the end when we kind of say what these statistics mean, when they're kind of the meaning behind them is revealed. This happens a lot more snappily now. It happens a lot quicker, I think, because in the end the audience, it is quite a long performance. It is 20 minutes, and I think especially when there's sort of the emotions in the room, this kind of can bring the audience back to, oh, here are the facts about this issue, and just sort of bring a sense of calm, really. Even though these statistics are not very calming, just the idea that we can say, okay, this is the ending, this is where we're kind of stopping it now. Let's kind of, let's see what the audience think, or what the audience kind of, let's see what their opinions are. Because this was the biggest thing about the statistics. I wanted the statistics to be shocking, and I feel like at the end they now are shocking because we say them straight away and we say this is what it means. And it's a lot more, I would say, quick. It doesn't drag, and we kind of just say, right, these are the statistics. This is what the meaning is behind them. What should we do about it? And I'm now really happy that that's the way that the ending of the script goes. They were the big changes. They were the 3 big main changes to the script. The majority of it is still the same, which is good. It's just sort of been the ending section, which was the biggest sort of worry for me that I really wanted to sort out. And I just thought I should do a post about it just so I can talk a bit more about kind of why I made these decisions and why as a writer I felt that there was moments that needed to be sort of, improved upon. And this is, I think, for me, made me realise kind of again how big of a role a writer has in a production, and how important it is for writers to kind of make sure that the projects they are writing are exactly correct. And I think just made me also realise how connected you become to the projects that you write. And there's times where you do have to edit them. You know, you have to get rid of things that you really liked at one point, but then you realise that they don't work and you just have to get rid of them. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges really that I've faced from doing all these drafts of the script, is kind of getting rid of things that I thought would work, and then when they haven't worked, getting rid of them. And yeah, I just think I think this is just quite a normal experience of what a writer goes through, and I have never had this kind of experience. I've never had a production sort of, I've never written a production to have it performed, so to have this experience is really great. Okay, sorry about that. It seems like my camera went off. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but I'm just gonna just quickly go back to the point I was making just before I just finish off the video. So I was just sort of talking about how sort of grateful I am to have had the experience of writing a production and getting it sort of ready for it to be performed. I've never had this experience before, but I really hope to sort of to take the skills and the confidence that I've gained through this process and use them after I've graduated. And I just wanted to say that I feel very strongly about this project, and I hope that the sort of projects that I write in the future will have the same kind of passion for me, and the same kind of passion behind it as what I'm kind of feeling right now for this project. And I just feel without having this experience of this sort of process, I probably would not be as confident going into sort of the professional world of being a writer. So I feel like this has been a really great experience. We're now getting closer to the performance, which is always exciting. But for me, the writing has been the main sort of thing. That has been the main thing that I've sort of focused on, and I feel as though I have gained a lot of confidence. Not only as a writer, but even just as kind of a member of the performing arts community, because we've kind of made contacts with these people who have really helped shape the production and have really influenced how it is in the final product. And I just do feel a lot more confident, and I really hope to kind of exude that confidence when I go into the professional world of the performing arts. And yeah, I just wanted to quickly just end this video because it ended a bit abruptly. But thank you very much for watching. We'll be back again with the next post as we come closer to performing. So yeah, exciting times ahead.